I always love, no matter where I find it, buildings that have wood balconies. Now we wander up these authentic looking streets towards the castle. Here an intersection. The Kalasa Castle to the left for tomorrow, and the museum Ethnographic to the right for now. I think that's the museum there in an 18th century home. Just wonder how old all the stonework is. You wonder if this is old or whether it just looks old. A young woman, girl probably 18, entered that house or building. And I asked her if it was very old, and she said yes, probably 1800s, 1700s, and that was her home where she and her family lived. Well, this path gets narrower and narrower. You wonder where I'll end up on this one. Pathway there that may go up to the castle, but maybe just those homes, so I'll just keep pursuing this less and less used road. I guess that fence should give me a clue. Escape route. This is not the correct route, but I'll try it anyway. Just for the fun of it. Well, you can see the steps are leading up towards the castle. But what this route will get me is anybody's guess. Well, I'm getting closer, but I doubt I'll get access this way. So those men down there are rebuilding this road and presumably have rebuilt it from where I am standing. The man closest to us is doing the handwork around a manhole cover, but he's individually breaking and chipping the rocks into place and then pounding them down into their holes. And then other men, like the men in the green, they fill it in with dirt like this and then sweep it so that it gets filled up with dirt. And they'll probably come back and do it again in a few months after it drizzles down inside the rocks better. You can imagine what a monumental task that is. And it keeps Albanians working, and that's a good thing. Here a nice panorama. The being refurbished university building down there, looking a certain amount like our White House and Capitol. Again, the mountains providing a magnificent backdrop for this small town. My guess is to live up here in these houses to be much cooler. I think we can see even from here that this is a round tower, probably sitting on a point, which is probably going to offer magnificent views, which we'll see in just a couple moments. I don't know if this was important for controlling commerce on this river, but you would certainly think that it had that capability, since these two, what are probably very rich agricultural valleys, connect here, and the river flows through this juncture. Now the way you get to the hostel is you come up that slope off the pedestrian bridge, and you follow along that walkway up there, and it's on the right, so it must be one of those several buildings right in about there somewhere. Not sure which. And there you can see that wall I was looking at earlier in the day, wondering what function was, but I think it would have been a initial barricade. It kind of has that look. And this should be St. Michael's Church, which I guess you have to reach from below. That serpentine trail must be the walkway up to it. So from here you can see that the castle goes higher, so we'll go up a little higher. I'm guessing as we look down into the round portion of the tower, that little ledge was probably to support logs, which then supported the floor. A couple of firing ports that are going in opposite directions, this one going that way, and this one going to the left and down, as you can see. And I can only imagine the phenomenal amount of respect they had for the enemy to think he climbed up that far. Now this is an interesting feature. This is a tower, base at least, but you'll notice that between it and the outer wall there's this deep passageway. Whether it was meant to be defensive, and it appears it was, because there you can see firing holes from inside the tower. This perhaps would have been the last bastion of defense, or one of the last small bastions of defense. Now this gives access to the outside, but whether you can get down here or not, I don't know. Here you can see a couple of archways going down, whether that's another exit out of the castle. Certainly intentional, as you can see by the large and obvious archway and buttresses. Here's a narrow set of stones or stairs for the soldiers to climb up, and then this narrow shelf on which to stand and fire. This looks like it might have been a reflection pool of some sort. I would imagine there were structures right on these terrace-like areas. And remember, this area even today is occupied as residents. At one time there were 20 churches here and several mosques. I'm guessing that that's the remains of a minaret of a mosque. Like you could climb up the minaret there. Certainly in the old days, one of the clerics had to climb up there to yell or to sing out their 5 times a day song. Notice how they've used the colored brick to affect at least a little bit of design variety into these walls. Again, I wonder what was the purpose of this triangular room that also had a window. Here, another, could it have been holding a cannon? Came in another large section of what is probably a huge castle. Another big tower. I don't know if we can get up there or not. But here are some interesting things. I don't know if those are churches or mosques or what. But notice those buildings all with arched ceilings. And you can see that motif, well, it's more than a motif, that design is carried on the rest of the way down through here. This is a fairly large area with a nice restaurant there that I'll come up and find something to drink in a minute. And here are the remains of other interior structures. Remember, a fort like this was not only defensive in the sense that it could fight back, but its main defense was its capacity to withstand siege. And yet here, again, another exit. Arches are so pretty. It's unfortunate that our culture doesn't use them more instead of our bland rectangular And the interiors are nice that way also. My favorite, of course, being the Chinese round and oval doorways. And here another church, which I'll identify when I get down in that realm.